So the Cannes Film Festival has started. It opened up with a welcoming message from Zelensky. I'm also going to take this as an opportunity to remind everyone that I've been to Cannes. The fun thing about Cannes is that none of these movies have been seen. This is really the first festival of the year, meaning that this is where all of the hype starts. You go into it with all of these movies that you think are the ones that you're excited about because of the actors, because of the directors attached to it, because of the writers, and you know, a lot of times the ones that you want to do very well, or the ones that you're excited about, aren't the ones that actually catch on as popular or as, you know, good. A lot of times the ones that you want to see are the kind of end up sucking, and the ones that you haven't heard of at all, the ones that you've completely passed over, are the ones that actually catch on, become trends, go on to win the big awards at other festivals, maybe even eventually the Oscars. You don't know at all what is going to be good, what's going to be bad, and it feels very democratic in that it's just the starting place of the hype. I'll at least say the ones that I am keeping an eye out for, the ones that seem exciting, and then at the end we can talk about what really wins, what is actually exciting. Baz Luhrmann's Elvis movie, I've got to say I'm very interested in how this one is going to go. This is not in competition, but it is premiering there. Baz Luhrmann is such a strange filmmaker. He throws everything at the screen, and for me, a lot of the times it does not work, but it is just so damn flashy that it's so loud that you have to pay attention to it. This movie is 2 hours and 39 minutes. That is an ungodly runtime. Movies have really got to cut that back. Maybe they will cut it back. I really hope that they do, because that is just so much movie and so much of Tom Hanks in that trailer. Tom Hanks looks ridiculous in that trailer. Then we've got Top Gun, the new Top Gun Maverick with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise continuing to not age and just continue his spat of being the only person that is carrying big movies right now. We'll see how this goes. Right now, the reviews, there actually are reviews. They're saying it's very, very good. We'll see what the response is. This is kind of like that blockbuster movie that comes out. When I was at Cannes, they showed Solo, and people liked it, but then it went on to be one of the most hated things of all time. I feel like Top Gun is probably gonna get a lukewarm receiving at Cannes, and then will go on to be broadly accepted as one of the best movies of the year. That kind of seems how it's going right now. Getting into more of the movies in competition, we have 3,000 Years of Longing by George Miller. It's with Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton. This seems a little bit like a fairy tale type movie with Idris Elba essentially playing a fairy. I've got to say, I love George Miller. He's got a level of energy that he brings to everything that he does that makes it so that you cannot ignore it. But just this photo that came out of Idris Elba, what is that? That is so weird. He looks so strange. I'm interested to see what this is, because George Miller takes so many shots, and sometimes they work, sometimes they really, really don't. So we'll see what happens with this. I feel like that's one to keep an eye out for. Then Triangle of Sadness, the new Ruben Östlund movie. Now, Östlund made Force Majeure and The Square. Really great movies, really fantastic movies, in particular Force Majeure. He takes awkward situations, awkward social situations, and then essentially takes the reason they would be awkward and makes a whole movie about it. Force Majeure in particular, the one about a family who is vacationing in the mountains. An avalanche comes towards them. The family's eating dinner together. The mom protects the kids while the dad runs away to save himself, and they all live. No one is hurt at all, but then there's just this awkwardness of, whoa, you're a shit person. And The Square is very much the same. Triangle of Sadness, I just think, again, we don't know a lot about this. I know Woody Harrelson's in it. The description for this right now is a pair of models find themselves at a crossroads in their careers. So I'd say that's one to look out for. The next one, Crimes of the Future. This is a weird one. It has got that, it's the newest Cronenberg movie. It's got that almost fake quality that I feel directors kind of get as they get older. The sets for this movie, the kind of cocoon-like things that they're in for this movie they just seem a little fake. It's got this very digital, flat lighting, and obviously with this being a movie about humans in the future actually connecting in like a sexual way with digital interfaces, and it all having this very like Cronenberg body horror aspect to it, I get that maybe that's part of how the movie is wanting to present itself. But I just gotta say, from the trailer, it seems like there is not a very cohesive feeling coming across in this. It seems weird, which I'm always on board for, and we'll see how it goes. Obviously, Kristen Stewart, Lea Seydoux, Viggo Mortensen, so it's got a great cast, but I'm a little bit nervous about this one. Definitely something to watch out for, but I'm quite nervous about this one. Then Broker, the new movie by Koreeda. Koreeda always makes very humanist, heartwarming, down-to-earth movies. This one is about baby boxes in Korea, which allow infants to be dropped off anonymously to then be cared for by others. The trailer's out to this one right now. It does seem like a very heartwarming movie. It seems like, you know, not necessarily more of the same from Koreeda, but it seems like it looks quality. It looks like kind of up there with what I would say is his more appealing work, so definitely something to look out for there. Armageddon Time. At this point, this is getting more to the ones that I really hope are good, and I'm very much excited for these next three. Armageddon Time by James Gray. I think James Gray is a very underrated director. I thought Lost City of Z and The Immigrant were fantastic movies. He seems very much like someone like Francis Ford Coppola, where he's got a very strong voice. His visual style is not the flashy type that you would say, oh, I recognize it's a Scorsese movie, or I recognize it's a Wes Anderson movie, but it is very, very solid camera work, great score most of the time. His scripts are very to the point, and the stories, while they are normally long, it does actually feel like there's a reason for them to be long. Ad Astra, I was very disappointed with that movie. It was very boring, did not make sense. It really felt like someone who had a very strong vision, who the studio then completely doubted and then said, hey, why don't we make it Star Wars? But this one seems much smaller scale. Seems very autobiographical. The description is a coming-of-age story about growing up in Queens in the 1980s. I think that James Gray, while a lot of directors that go to Cannes, they kind of verge on making their movies too arty and not that innovative when it comes to the actual storytelling. James Gray always goes for the much more grounded and the much more just really, really good, clever storytelling. So I'm excited about this one from him. Cast looks very good. Anne Hathaway. The guy from, why can't I remember the guy's name from Succession? Well, it's got that guy in it. It's got a lot of good people. That's definitely one to look out for. And then we have Irma Vep, which is actually a limited series remake of the director's film from 1996. This is the movie is very, very cool. It's kind of a behind-the-scenes look at a movie that's getting made. It's a movie star is starting to become very disillusioned with her career because she goes to star in this French remake of a silent horror movie, and she starts blending her personality with the personality of the character and starts to lose herself. I was excited that it was going to get a remake because this seems like the perfect type of story dealing with movies, dealing with fame, dealing with identity that is very due for an update, and updating it as a limited series, being able to actually say more with the longer amount of time. It just feels like there is actually fertile ground here that is worth returning to. The first movie, check it out. I know it's on the Criterion channel, and it just has a very great sense of character and a great sense of place, and it does that thing that is very difficult to do, which is making a movie about making a movie and making it seem like there is actually something going on there. A lot of times with those movies, it just feels very fake. Like, I feel like Contempt did a good job. The original Irma Vep did a good job. Day for Night did a very good job. Other than that, and even Tropic Thunder did a good job. Other than that, a lot of movies about making movies, just, they seem like duds. It never feels like there's actually the energy you would expect from a movie set. And then the one I am most excited for, Decision to Leave, the new movie by Park Chan-wook. I always was a little bit disappointed that Park Chan-wook was not the director that blossomed with a great career in America. Bong Joon-ho is great, makes very, very good movies, but I feel like if you put his movies up against Park Chan-wook's, I feel like they're much more palatable to overseas audiences, but at the same time much more challenging. I feel like maybe because Old Boy, the remake, did not do very well, maybe people didn't want to take so many chances with him, but it feels like every movie that he comes out with, he's pushing the bounds of what he's able to do technically, what he's able to do with story. I mean, The Handmaiden is just a wild movie that just takes twists and turns the entire time, and everyone that I know that has seen that movie absolutely loves it. I think it's a shame, and hopefully later in his career he does have a huge success in America. But hey, maybe he doesn't want that. Maybe he wants to be kind of rooted in South Korea, which is perfectly fine. But Decision to Leave, This one, there's a trailer out for it, and I would say definitely check out the trailer. The trailers to his movies are always very, very inventive. They always give a great kind of taste with fantastic music to what to expect with the movie, kind of more of like a mood piece than an actual, here's the story of what's going on. The story of this one is a detective investigating a man's death in the mountains, meets the dead man's mysterious wife in the course of his dogged sleuthing. I think this is the one. I really, really hope that this does well. If one could win the Palme d'Or, I would hope that it's this one. I think that Park Chan-wook deserves a lot more recognition and success than he's gotten in his career. Hopefully this one gets him that, and you know, this one does it for him. What are movies that you're looking forward to this year? Leave them below in the comments. Are you interested in Cannes at all? Let me know, and also be sure to follow 5 Minute Critic for future updates on reviews and movie news.